Welcome to our first video for Math 21, Outcome 5 on angles and parallel lines. So this is the rubric. If you read through it, it will tell you what you need to do to be at a level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's start with our first lesson, talking about whether lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So perpendicular, if you have perpendicular lines, they mean they intersect at 90. So you would have two lines, these are two lines, that would intersect at 90 degrees. Now we denote 90 degrees as that kind of square, and that basically means 90 degrees, the angle that they cross at. Parallel lines will never intersect. So if you have two lines that are parallel, they will never cross, even if you keep going forever and ever. Now, when we have parallel lines, we would denote that with little arrows on the lines. So again, that means that they are parallel. A transversal is a line that's going to intersect two or more other lines. So that's the transversal right here, right? It is crossing two other lines, and that's what we call a transversal. Corresponding angles are one interior angle and one exterior angle that are non-adjacent, which means not next to each other, and on the same side of the transversal. When we have a transversal that intersects two parallel lines, those two angles are going to be equal to each other. So when a transversal intersects a pair of parallel lines, the corresponding angles that are formed are always equal. So here, A and E are corresponding. They are equal. B and F are also corresponding, and they are equal. C and G are corresponding. They would be equal. And so are D and H. When a transversal intersects a pair of lines creating corresponding angles, we know that the lines are going to be parallel if those angles are equal. So here's our basically the opposite, right? If your lines are not parallel, then those corresponding angles will not be equal. So here's our first example. These two angles are corresponding. Because they have different degrees, they are not equal, so they are not parallel. So this is not parallel, because the corresponding angles are not equal. Over here, these corresponding angles are equal. So if your corresponding angles are equal, if they are equal, that means that the lines are parallel. So that is our first lesson. You're now going to work through the first practice, questions 1 to 4.